Good
Good
morning.
morning. I know it's Friday morning and it's not easy. I hope you have your cup of coffee with you. I've been up.
I'm pouring it right now.
I've been up since a quarter to 6, so I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Don't hate me.
Sorry.
I have been too, but that was only about an hour ago for me. So,
Oh my goodness.
I
Oh
got
my
up around
goodness.
3:30.
But I know, yeah, it's especially it's a Friday and it's the morning and you're all probably cursing me like Miss P, really? You have to get us up on a Friday morning. Um, but I find it helpful, especially reaching out one last time before the weekend just to connect with each other and talk things out if there's any questions or concerns about either the planning or the discussion board for this week. So, mainly, I'm not going to hold you guys here for a long time. I just wanted to touch upon a few things and review, and then I'm going to open up the floor if you guys have any questions for me. Sound cool?
Yeah.
yep,
Cool. Well, how are you anyway? How are we doing on this fine Friday?
Well,
I'm doing well.
That's good.
Go ahead, Devin.
no, you really don't want to hear my sad story.
Oh no.
Oh no, I don't. I hope you're okay.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just really frustrated with the husband. Decided to show him my outline, and he proceeds to make me really upset by being you know how you were talking about the that aggressive audience member?
Yes.
Oh no, he's the aggressive audience member.
I wanted to punch him in the face.
Oh, honey,
And
I'm
he made
so
me feel like I need to
sorry.
be
Oh,
the whole thing.
I am so sorry. But I'm and again, I'm not sticking up for anybody, but some people have that tough love way of approaching things. Um so
Yeah, we'll call it that.
but let's try to call it the tough love in an aspect. But however, we're here to support you, Devin. So if you have any questions, if you want us to take a look at anything, by all means, let's work this through and be your support system.
Yeah, because I'm freaking out. I'm gonna be
Oh,
straight honest.
don't freak out. I hear music in the background. Is that? Oh, hi, Jeremy. Jerry, good morning. I'm not hating on any of your music, but it's hard to lecture at the same time, but cool. Um, okay, so Devin, don't worry, we have your back, and hopefully we could change your sadness into enthusiasm. How about that?
Sounds great.
Okay. All right, so this is mainly for people at home, just to do a quick review. So on Monday, I touched upon what kind of questions you should ask yourself when you're planning these presentations. I just want to point out again, because you're not alone in freaking out over this assignment. I want to bring to everyone's attention that this is the planning stage. This is supposed to be the moment where you, like my student in the past said, vomit everything all over the papers. And I know that sounds kind of sick, but at the same time, that is to get your flow. It's to get your ideas out and open and have that conversation with yourself. Um, So what I'm looking for really is the opportunity to be that mentor for you, be the guide, and take all the different ideas that you have, and be able to guide you in the direction of your strength. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Yes.
So mainly what I'm looking for is I'm looking beyond the mind map. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with a mind map, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Where, you know, all these just concepts are scattered all over the paper. That's a great way to start. However, there has to be some substance to it. There should be an idea of how that idea is going to develop. And it's okay at this point if you have two separate ways that you want to go. It's okay if you have three separate ways that you want to go. What that does is allow me to assess and step back and look at everything that you have in your head and give you, like I said, guidance into where I find you're the strongest and where I can listen to your heart and know exactly the like foresee the core of the why that you do what you do. It's very easy to get caught up in the process and freak out about the process. We have this idea in our head, and it it sounds coherent, it sounds perfect in our head, but the
Mm-hmm.
transference, sometimes the transference doesn't translate the way that we want it to. So this process is so important in that reflection. It gives us the chance to step outside of our brains and step outside of our chaos and look at it from with a clear head. So your plans are really I call it a controlled chaos, if that makes sense. So if you walked into my home office at any point that I was going through the MFA, you would think that this woman is nuts. I don't know how she gets anything done. I had sticky notes all over the place. All my notebooks were on all over the place and books, but I knew what I was doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I let it go. Let it go. This is a process. It doesn't have to be perfect. What ultimately I'm looking for is that you put thought into it and you have a rhyme and reason for this idea. It's not just a concept in a mind map, it's actually you're working towards developing an idea. Um, so hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better, does it?
I'm glad it's only 4 minutes long.
Yes, and surprisingly enough, Devin, um, it's either my students are happy about, oh, thank God it's 4 minutes, and then
As you do.
I have the extreme that's like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna fit this all into 4 minutes. So it goes on two ends of this spectrum.
I have
My
4 minutes to embarrass myself versus, a whole hour or something.
Oh, you won't embarrass yourself, honey. You got this. You got this. Um, and the cool thing about just starting right now is that you have all this awesome opportunity in front of you. And this is really a work in progress. And what I hope for you guys is that you will want to go back to this And as you progress in your program, and when you come to even your first portfolio class, you're going to have all these skills under your belt and want to build this and want this project to evolve. And be excited, be proud of yourself that you have made the decision to go on this journey to fulfill your dreams, and you have every opportunity to make that happen. It's all in how much you take advantage of it, really. So I want you guys, I want that for you. I want you to be like, I want you to want to take this to the end, and hope that for you. So with the planning presentations, and again, this is more for the people that are going to watch the recording. Present company pretty much excluded, because I've seen your work. I've seen your work on the discussion boards. I've seen your work in the very first week. But really, you want to know exactly who your audience is. Your audience is key when it comes to succeeding in this presentation. And we talked about personal branding in Monday night's session, and the fact that you really are a product in this whole thing. Whether it is you are going to be talking to investors because you need them to provide you capital for any business that you want to grow, whether it is a production studio or recording studio, or you have an idea for a business that elicits clients or has a service. We all need capital to back that up, and many of us, if of course, loans are available, but sometimes an idea needs more than that. It needs more than just our little middle class credit to get us there. Or you have a company in mind that you desire to work for. You just, everything about them speaks to you. It speaks to your heart, it speaks to your mind, it speaks to your soul. They encompass everything that you hold in your heart as your philosophy, as your mission, and you feel that you can enhance what they do and be the right fit. Or you have a cause that you want to bring attention, but not only bring attention by educating, you want to lead them into action. Okay, so there are several different ways to approach this, but you need to know to whom you're speaking to. By the end of your presentation, and even though it is only 4 minutes long, and it could be anywhere, Devin, you can relax, because it could be 3 minutes if you want to.
Thank God.
3 minutes is the minimum. But I want you to think about this entire presentation as the invitation. You're inviting this audience to make a decision about you, and you're inviting them to want to connect with you and want to talk to you further. So you're not giving up everything in this 4 minutes. So things like a lot of backstory, leave that to the conversations that you're gonna have. Whether it is you get an interview, or you have a conference call with them, leave that to them at that time. So although backstory
It's not about answering all of the questions, it's about sparking them.
Yes, I love that. Yes, exactly, Dustin. It's about sparking their interest. So although backstory and personal anecdotes are awesome, and they can certainly be included in this presentation, but you want to be careful about that timeline. You don't it could turn into well, I was born in this time, and then in elementary school, and then in middle school, and then high school. And it turns into that. You ever hear a story from a 5-year-old?
It goes all over the place.
Yeah.
And I love it. And my nephew is 6 now, and I love him to death. And I will listen to any story that he has to say. But it goes, and then, and then, and then, and they're so excited that you want to listen to every word, but you have to take that and bring it into a professional level. And
They
who
have the
the
best
audience is
stories.
going to be. So even though the enthusiasm is there, it could be, oh my God, get to the point. You know what I'm saying? Um, and
There is no point with a 5-year-old.
I was
no,
gonna say,
there
I
is
think
no.
Shocking.
I'm thinking that more it's like a 25-year-old is saying stuff like that still. With a
Uh-huh.
5-year-old,
Right.
it's cute. With a 25-year-old, it's
Right.
just sad.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And it takes time. It really does. There are many people. If we go back to the first discussion board and presentation history, there's many people that have never done a presentation ever. Whether they were homeschooled or they shied away from it and got away with passing high school without giving a presentation. But there's some people that
Mm.
have never had to communicate before. So it's a process, it's a challenge for some. And that's where sometimes in week 3 we're going to be talking about feedback and how strong feedback is for our own personal journeys. But that's where that tough love comes in sometimes. And um, it's not because we want to discourage anyone. It's we want to encourage them to improve. They don't know any better. They haven't been to the point where they have to communicate a story. Um, which is interesting, and that's why the first discussion board is really interesting, to see the different perspectives and how we're all different. We haven't grown up the same way and been subjected to many different things. So, and I digress. I went off on a little tangent there. But it's just a matter of, when it comes to having 4 minutes for a presentation, you want to make sure that, one, you're addressing your audience so they know that you are speaking to them and they're engaged and they feel like they're part of the presentation. Another is your message should be clear. You're the GPS system that is putting in the coordinates for your audience to follow. And you want to make sure that by the end of that presentation, they know exactly what you want and what they need to do in order to make it happen. Cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we kind of know this already. Stop me if I'm going too fast, but the 5 theses of the power of a presentation is basically the underlining concepts of what you're reading in the books. So the first one, of course, we just talked about the audience being the hero, and they're 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 the people that you want your idea to stick to, and make that as clear as possible. You want to move people, so you're getting them to make this decision, whether it is to hire you, to buy you, or to join you. You're getting them to sit up in their seats and make a decision by the end. So think about what that decision looks like and how you could lead them to making that decision by the end. What is your call to action? What is it that you are bringing to the table and what you need for them to do in order to make it happen together? Then help your audience see what you're saying. This is so important because sometimes especially when you're in the planning stage, it's very easy to write concepts on the paper. It's very easy to have in our head what we have in our head, but it's another to relay that message and make sure that they're envisioning what we're putting out. So this happens in so many different ways. It could happen with using complementary images. That's the face value of it. That is the most direct way, by using images behind you. But it could also be you could also get people to see what you're saying through your word choice, through the language, through your story. So if you guys remember, in the first week, we talked about thinking about that moment, or where you had this epiphany, that moment in time that you knew in your heart of hearts, this is what you wanted to do. And that correlates with the why. Did any of you see the Simon Sinek, TED that I talked about on Monday?
I forgot to watch it.
Shame on you, Dustin. That's it, you're fired.
I know.
No worries, no worries. I do recommend it, but we talked about the concepts about his repeatable soundbite. It's not what you do, it's why you do it. And this is pretty much an indirect way to get your audience to see what you see, to feel what you feel, to believe what you believe. And if you don't believe in what you're saying, can you expect your audience to believe in what you're saying?
No.
No. So keep that in mind. Let your heart do the talking, especially in the beginning, to get them hooked, to get them engaged, to get them to want to listen for the rest of the presentation. It's not only why you do what you do, but it's also why should they care, and why should they step up? Why should they join? Why should they hire? Why should they open up their wallets and write you a check? Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Is it that? It's the How Great Leaders Inspire Action. Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He has 2 TED Talks.
It's kind of the audio is kind of off. I don't know why, because it is a TED Talk. I don't know why it's off a little bit, but the content is so awesome. It really is. then of course you have to think about design. You have to think about, okay, well, yes, you have to think about design. You have to think about what this looks like to an audience, and not only what they think, but what is it that you need when you're watching a presentation? What do you need when someone hands you a document? What are you expecting when you go into a presentation? And in week one, that is the whole reasoning about putting you in that seat and getting you to evaluate presenters, really understanding what you need so you can interpret that for your audience. So what this slide does, if the reason why there is, well, actually I'll ask you guys, why is on the left, why is he frowning?
And
Because, yeah, you can't focus on anything. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's kind of chaotic. But of course, you can make the argument, if you were doing a presentation on Jackson Pollock, maybe that would be constitute as a great image to have behind you. But the concept is that you want to be crisp and clean with your slides. Your slides are meant to be complementary to what you're saying, not to confuse your audience. It's a complement to your story. And the last thing is cultivate healthy relationships. What can, I know, isn't that sweet?
I want a pet monkey, and my husband says no.
Oh,
Kitties are
that's
better. They're fluffier
sad.
and loving more, and they don't get into things.
I know.
Yeah, but monkeys are so fun.
I know. It's not a responsible purchase.
Oh, I know. I know. Well, you could visit them.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And we have, I don't know if you guys have this where you are, but we have a place called Incredible Pets, and it's all exotic domestic pets, and they have monkeys, and they allow you to take them out and play with them. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's cool.
I just heard his oh my
that's amazing.
I know, I heard that. Oh my God. So you have to petition Dustin to get Incredible Pets where you are. That has to
Yes, that would totally satisfy my need for a monkey.
Yes, because then you could play and be like, okay, now he's throwing poop, and you take him.
Wow. What?
That's true. They throw their poop.
Yes, they do. God love them. But I'll ask you guys, how can you establish this simply? How do you establish relationships simply in the beginning?
Humor?
Okay, humor can definitely be an icebreaker and a factor, yes. But it's more basic than that.
A short story?
Again, awesome, and it's definitely a way to connect with the audience, especially we were talking about relatability, especially with emotions. But it's simpler.
Be yourself?
What do I do in every go-to session? What's the first thing that I do?
Oh, say good morning. Or
Say
hello.
good morning. How are you? Okay, so just by addressing your audience, you're acknowledging their presence. You're acknowledging that they're there. And it's warm and welcoming. And it's simple. The same thing with discussion boards. You're establishing that a relationship by simply writing, "Hello, Devin," or "Hello, Dustin," or "Good morning," "Good afternoon." It's an acknowledgement, but it's such a powerful acknowledgement. It's so simple, but it could change someone's day by just acknowledging their presence. Make sense?
Yes.
Totally.
Awesome. Okay, so again, just going back to Simon Sinek. Now, I just adore this man. He's so incredibly intelligent. He just wrote a children's book. I can't for the life of me think of the name, but it's like a scratch and sniff book. And
What?
yeah, it relates to emotions and connecting through sensory. It's incredible. I'll send you guys that information. But it's awesome. It's an awesome
How
book.
do you create a
Um,
scratch and sniff book?
I know, isn't I'm gonna date myself here, but they had the colored pencils when I was growing up. The scratch and
To
sniff
change
color.
colors?
They changed colors and they also were scented.
Ooh, I remember those.
Yes, and the markers too.
And the markers
Markers
too.
too, yeah.
Yes.
And when my school, people would walk around with marker all over their nose because they had just smelling the marker.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, oh, how simple childhood was. But mainly what I focus on, especially when it comes to the feedback on the plans, is the way that I break down feedback is using the Golden Circle by Simon Sinek. I think it is the most direct way to give you direction. So the first thing that I'm looking for, and of course this changes, and it could be different for different ideas that you have. But the first thing that I look for is the why that you do what you do. I'm looking for that empathic moment that puts you on the path that you are currently on. Um, the it's your philosophy, it's your mission, it's your brand promise. If you guys remember that exercise that we did, it's your brand promise, it's your guarantee, the buy-in for your audience to connect with you and be like, oh, that is what we're in for. Let's hear the story. Let's allow this person to take us on this journey, and we're ready and willing to go on this journey with you based on hearing your heart and believing that this is coming from your heart of where you want to go. Excuse me, let me just take a sip of my water. I'm getting a little scratchy, sorry. Okay. And the next thing I look for is the how. The how is you're talking about, and I'm sorry if you're vegetarian, because I'm going to go with this analogy, but this is the meat. This is the meat of your plate, where the why and the what is the potatoes to complement that savory chunk of meat, but the how is your meat. And the how deals with your qualifications. Now, I know everyone's throat closes up when I mention qualifications because they're like, oh my God, Miss B, we're at the beginning of our journey. I don't have these skills. I don't have I don't have these abilities yet. I don't have experience, but you do. You just don't realize that you do, but you do. So I'll take example of someone that wants to go into, say, computer animation. There's something that sparked this interest in you from maybe childhood, and maybe you had a sketchbook of doodles that you would do, or maybe you explored Adobe when you were like 12 and experimented with characters. All of this is evidence of how proactive you are in the path that you've chosen. So at this point, it's okay that you may think these things are minor, but they're major right now. They're a big deal. Because what these sketches will turn into is, as you gain this knowledge and as you gain the skill, they're going to turn into these polished pieces that you will put into your portfolio. So don't get rid of any reservations of you thinking that you don't qualify yet or you don't have enough to give, because you do. You do, especially at this point. A lot of film students struggle with this. But I'm like, did you film a high school football game? Did you do a video for your yearbook? Did you make sketches with your friends in the basement? All of this is relevant and a way to showcase how proactive you are already in the pursuit of your path. The other way that qualifications come into play is having that idea of, you're a graduate now of Full Sail, and you are talking as if you graduated, you have your degree. This is where I encourage you guys to research your degree and understand that you will have these skills by the time that you graduate, because you will take advantage of everything that is in front of you. So know the programs that you're going to be introduced in. Know the equipment that you're going to play around with. Know the overview of some projects that you would do, and speak to these skills as if you have them. Are you guys with me so far?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but how do you check what classes that you're taking? Like, I went on to Full Sail Connect and tried to look it up, and it only gave me like 2 years worth.
You go on, and I'm glad that you went on Connect. That's a good place to start. But you actually go on www.fullsail.edu. So the
Okay, so the actual
the actual
Okay.
website, and that will take you through the program of your degree. And I hope that you guys get as excited as I got when I explored the MFA, because it really is very motivational, and you'll find things that you never thought that you would ever do in your life, but you're actually going to accomplish them. And then once you compare them to your ultimate goal, say it is a career at Walt Disney or Naughty Dog, or, you know, insert professional company here, you can actually foresee the things that you will have to give to them to go for the position that you desire. So it's it's very exciting. I mean, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. I love learning, and I just feel like knowledge is empowerment, and I I'll never stop learning. So I hope that you get that feeling, that you will accomplish these things, and it will happen. Any questions on that so far?
Stephanie said something in the chat.
Oh my god, I've
Oh yeah.
been ignoring the chat. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Okay, Stephanie says, I'm still having a bit of trouble with figuring this out for me because I'm more going towards journalism, even though I'm in media communication and there's other options. I'm just not sure how to present this. Okay, I understand your frustration right now, Stephanie. What I would love for you to do is explore your options in your degree. Explore all the different avenues that you could go into. This is only the beginning. So get your ideas out there. Come up with several different ways that you could approach this assignment. You do not have to lock into any avenue at this point. This is only the planning stage. I don't know if you were here in the beginning, but what I was saying is that the more that you give me, the more ideas that you explore in the detail, the easier that it is for me to guide you in the direction of your strengths. So I don't want you to worry about too much about how you're presenting the material yet. That is going to come as we progress through this month. What I want you to focus on is the idea of the presentation and coming up with the stories that will complement that idea, the qualifications that come into play when it comes to going for your desired position or your desired goal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. And no worries about the kids. Totally understand. Totally understand. And oh, it's a snow day. Lucky you. Lucky you.
They killing us in the Northeast.
Yippee! Lots of hot chocolate and big cookies if you can have. That always works on a snow day.
I also found out that Naughty Dog actually doesn't have any mobile positions at all. It's all strictly game design and whatnot.
Really? That may just be currently.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it might be currently because I mean, they're all over social media. They have a Twitter page, and of course they have their website, and so you never know. You never know. That might be something in the future.
Well, I got like 3 years to figure it out.
Oh yeah, and Naughty Dog is where it's at, and you better not forget the little people. Just saying.
I'll make sure you get a free game.
Ah, awesome. Can you send Nathan Drake to my house?
I can send you Nolan North, who does his voice.
Oh, that's true too. I'll just sit and listen to him.
I mean, but then again, if you think about it, here's the crazy thing. So Nolan North does the voice of Nathan Drake. Did you also know that in the game Deadpool, he does his voice too?
No way, really?
Dead serious. All 3 of the crazy voices that are in Deadpool's mind.
Oh my god. I knew he did Nathan Drake. I had no idea about Deadpool. That's awesome.
It's hilarious.
That is hilarious. Oh my god.
Little tidbit.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And incidentally, Deadpool 2 is coming out shortly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yay!
I'm telling you that
Deadpool is my spirit animal.
that was the hands down. That was the best Valentine's Day ever.
Yes.
Is going to see that movie. That was like the best Valentine's Day ever.
Oh gosh.
We're getting to see Ryan Reynolds naked, even if he is all burnt up.
Oh,
Right.
I know, right? Just,
Okay, whoa.
I mean, you could, and forgive me, I'm stepping outside of the teacher role for a second, but you could wash clothes. You could wash clothes on that stomach. Like,
Yes.
it's
Oh my God.
ridiculous. It's definitely ridiculous. Steph, did you guys read what Stephanie wrote? She wrote us like a really sweet shout out. Thank you for that. Okay, and then lastly is the what, and that is your call to action. That is your now you're kind of reiterating your why, because you want to remind them it's not what you do, it's why you do it. So you want to remind them why you're doing it and give that last buy-in, and then you're inviting them to connect with you. So a lot of my advice, just to give you guys a heads up, a lot of the times my advice would be to make a contact slide. And offer, even if you don't have it established yet, but offer social media, offer your Twitter handle, offer your website, offer your phone number or even email address as a way to bring it back, remind them of who you are. I'm Dustin, and I'm your next fill in the blank. You can contact me here. And it just brings everything home. And it brings the presentation full circle. And that's what you want to accomplish at the end. Call them to action. Get them to want to hire you. Get them to want to invest in you. Get them to want to join you. Cool?
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
So I just went through all those things without my slides, and I'll leave it up to you. It's approaching 11 o'clock, and if you guys have any questions for me or concerns.
You just blew my mind with the 11 o'clock thing. I forget you're an hour ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, oh crap, it's almost 11?
I'm sorry. And then we're actually putting the clocks back this weekend too.
Oh man, don't tell me that. That means I gotta get up even earlier.
It sucks.
Yep, you lose an hour of sleep.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's only an hour, but it's like an adjustment. I don't get it.
An hour is important when you're an insomniac.
Oh yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I actually have one question.
Okay, and who is this? I can't tell.
This is Gary.
Hi, Gary. How are you?
I'm great. I cannot complain.
Awesome.
No, so yesterday I was looking at the examples you sent for as far as the presentation goes. Now, when I'm looking at these examples, I'm looking at the previous students' work. I'm just like, wow, these guys are pretty good. Was those examples of the final presentation, or were those examples of the planning of it? Because that looked like a final presentation to me, like especially with the first one, I think, where the guy did he's rapping, he looks like he's submitted to a group he would like to work with. And I was like, I don't know if this is a planning. This kind of looks like the final.
Oh yeah. In that announcement that I gave you guys, I listed examples of the planning. So I said, here is examples of the planning. Then on the very bottom, I put, here is an example of the final presentation. So it sounds like you're talking about the final presentation.
Okay.
So the
Okay,
one at
awesome.
the one at the bottom was the final presentation.
The one at the bottom was the one at the bottom was the video about the girl going into filming.
Oh, okay. But I
The
know
one
that
I'm talking about
I've
was-
seen a couple.
Sent 4.
Oh, okay. Now I know. Now I know. Okay. Sorry. One of the examples for the plan. Now I know who you're talking about. That was a student of mine, Matt. He actually did a PowerPoint presentation of his plan, and
Okay, so that was just the planning you're saying. That wasn't the final.
no. Now I
Okay,
know what you're
awesome.
talking about. I'm so sorry. Now I know what you're talking about.
No, because when I looked at it, I was like, this looks like a PowerPoint or a Keynote. I don't know what software he used. And then when I was reading the actual instructions, it said my best advice to you do not use PowerPoint presentation. And I was like, well, that's what this looks like, and this one's amazing.
Well, I'm glad that you loved it. He was definitely a star and an overachiever. He's actually, just to give you an update, he is dropping an LP very shortly and doing amazing over in LA. So it really, that's the beauty of this class, because you have the freedom to utilize your strengths, and whatever your strength is and what you're comfortable using, use it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's pretty much all I had, because I'm almost finished, and I was like, but I don't know if I should use this format of my presentation pretty much. So I was like, let me justify this when we talk next. So yeah,
no.
you pretty much clarified.
Yeah, I want you guys to use what you feel comfortable using. And know that this is only the plans. So it gives me an opportunity to guide you in the direction of your strengths. And yes, it's in my nature. I'm going to challenge you because I love a challenge. So I will challenge you. But I want you to be comfortable.
Okay, definitely. And I have one more question. Actually, on the final presentation, when we get ready to submit, well, since I'm going to school for film, videography, and I pretty much do a lot of the stuff right now as we speak, do I physically have to write something on the final presentation, or could I present my project in a video format of me doing live video, period?
Oh, I would love, if you looked at, Devin, I think, brought up the example that I used. A student of mine was a film student, and she did the whole thing was film. And next week we're going to talk a lot about design. Right now is the planning stage, and then we get into the building stage. So know that it's in the best interest, in the eyes of Nancy Duarte, to that less is more. You want to stay away from too much text and bulleting and words on the screen.
Okay.
It should be more of a visual story.
Got it.
Cool.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it draws the attention of your audience when you're giving them live feed versus text. It bores them.
Oh, absolutely. And going back to, the discussion board this week, when you were actually, driving in your car and speaking into, kind of took us on your journey with you. So I think you have, I think that is your comfort zone, and I think you could do amazing things with that for your final presentation.
Okay, no, yeah, definitely. Speaking is definitely my comfort zone. That's what I prefer. I hate writing, but I'm learning to love it now because of the field I'm in. You know, it's one of the areas I would say I definitely struggle in writing, and speaking is just natural. I've been doing it my whole life.
Well, then use it. And you know, going back to that example, that's what I told Matt, that was his outlet. He was a lyrical poet, and I was like, you need to use that, utilize that talent, and it gives you guys the buy-in. You need a buy-in for all this. It needs to connect to you and what you want to accomplish on your journey here. So what you came to Full Sail because of your creative mind, and I want you to use that part of yourself in everything that you do. It'll keep you happy. It'll keep you motivated to go to the next level.
No, definitely, it really does.
Cool.
Awesome, thank you. That's all I had.
Well, thank you. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions before we wrap things up?
So it doesn't have to be a video.
The plans?
No, the actual finished project.
The actual finished project? No, not necessarily. It does have an audio component in it though.
Well, yeah, that would make sense. You want to be able to get across your points with your voice rather than just words.
Absolutely. So it could be done several different ways, and as we progress, like today I'll be sending you out the recording of this session, and then I'll send another example, and all my examples are different. So don't think that you're pigeonholed in any different way. There are so many different ways that you could present your material.
Okay, that makes me feel much better.
Cool. Very cool. So if you, Devin, like if you wanted to do what you did for emotional storytelling, that's awesome. You know, you were narrating your story and using complementary images to tell your story. See,
Okay.
it's all relative. I don't ever give you guys things that you won't use. It's all relative. It's my master plan.
Okay, Mr. or Dr. Evil.
Oh, evil petting zoo?
No, just as long as you don't have a mini-me.
Oh, why not? That's fun.
One of you is enough.
That's the best part.
I need a pool of sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads.
On their freaking heads. Yes.
Yes. Awesome. So when you're a famous naughty dog entrepreneur, that's what I want. I want a Shark Tank with laser beams on their heads. That's
I'll get right on that for you, Miss Trish.
Sweet. Sweet. Stephanie says I'm a mini-me. That's cute. Okay, so you guys got this. You trust me, you have this, and don't get too caught up on the planning stage. Know that change is inevitable. It's inevitable. Things are supposed to evolve. Things are supposed to change. You may have an idea at the beginning and then throw it away, and then it comes back and at the end. So know that change is inevitable. It's okay. I'm not, this is not like we're reading Hamlet in the English class and you have to memorize his soliloquy, and I'm sitting there with the soliloquy open on the page and going, nope, you missed the line, nope, you missed the line. No. Know that change is inevitable, improvisation is inevitable, So get rid of all those reservations and have fun with it. If you're not having fun with this, then it's not worth it. So, all right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me on a Friday morning. Thank you for dragging yourself here and having your coffee.
I needed one.
Enjoy your weekend. I'll be here until about 4 my time. If you have any questions, just email me. I do check my messages early Saturday morning, but after that, I'm not around on the weekend. But don't stress. You have this. You have this. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be your mentor. I'm here to be your guide. I'm here to give you advice and walk you towards your strength. So after week 2 and we go into the building stages, I'm grooming you guys to take over and be that mentor and offer up your knowledge and your guidance, and you'll get there. Trust me. So, thank you all for joining me again on Friday. I'm happy when I don't have to just talk to a computer screen, so I appreciate that. And enjoy your weekend.
You too. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.